Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Within. And today, I'm still continuing my Disney movie marathon, as you can see. So let's just get straight to the point because it's not going to be a short video. So yeah, basically what's going on is that I'll be defending, Elsa and all that. Of course, something to do with Walt Disney. When he was alive, then he unfortunately died. Then the events were trying to tie it together with Elsa because she has a whole eye thing. A lot of people believe that uh, Walt Disney, when he died, he was chronologically frozen or whatever. There's some sort of connection there or something like a mystery, something about murder or whatever. Oh boy, yeah, there's gonna be a really asinine one and whatnot. So no, but I mean, really, this is just something that should be discussed in this podcast, kind of a thing. Of course, I know. Of course, he's somebody that's Disney is definitely someone that brought a lot of joy in people's hearts. Of course, I'm pretty sure it was a decent guy despite the stupid claims against him or whatever. So that's basically what's going on here. Yada yada yada. Let's just dive into it, folks. Just want to get this over with as much as possible, guys. So here we go.
Since Avengers Endgame is one of the biggest movies of all time, it is critically a smash hit. Everybody is watching it. Everybody's talking about it. We decided to do an episode about one of the craziest urban legends about any influential person to ever walk the earth. We're talking about Walt Disney and what happened to him after his death. Before we continue on, I want to give some credit to the sources I used for today's episode. Dr. Howard Markle from PBS NewsHour, Disney, The Triumph of the American Imagination by Neil Gabler, and Amanda Dobbins from Vulture.com. So let's get into the legend that is Walt Disney and the urban legend about his death. Walt Disney was born on December 5th, 1901. He died on December 15th, 1966. Mickey Mouse was created in 1928. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was the first animated feature released by Disney in 1937 and nationally in 1938. The top grossing films for the Disney Company are at number 5, Black Panther, at number 4, Avengers Age of Ultron, Marvel's The Avengers, Avengers Infinity War, and Star Wars The Force Awakens. And currently,
That's boring. You're boring, everybody. Quit boring everyone.
making a run for the number 1 movie of all time that is surpassing a bunch of these movies is in theaters right now, Avengers Endgame. Disneyland opened in July 17th, 1955 in Anaheim, California.
Oh, shut up! You're just trying to bring up a lot of stuff over here to make it seem what you're doing here like a legit podcast. Let's just get straight to the point, all right? Let's go.
Opened in 1965 in Bay Lake, Florida. Tokyo Disney Resort opened April 15th, 1983 in Yoroso, Chiba, Japan. Disneyland Paris opened April 12th, 1992 in Marne-la-Vallée in the suburbs of Paris, France. Hong Kong Disneyland opened September 12th, 2005 in Penny's Bay, Lantua Island, Hong Kong. Shanghai Disney Resort opened in June 16th, 2016 in Shanghai's Pudong district. So now that we know a little bit of the influence that Walt Disney had,
We get into the urban legend of his death. In early 1967, a few weeks after Disney's death, on December 15th, 1966, a reporter for a tabloid newspaper called the National Spotlight
What the hell are you talking about?
claimed he had snuck into St. Joseph Hospital in Burbank, directly across the street from Disney Studios.
What? Why would Walt Disney intentionally sneak into a hospital specifically for children? Especially considering the fact he's perfectly able to afford it.
He was treated during his final illness. As the story went, the reporter disguised himself as an orderly.
Yeah, I knew this entire story is complete bullshit from the start. A reporter snuck in to find out some news as an elderly and whatnot. Yeah, this is funny.
Broke into a storage room and saw the deceased Disney suspended in a cryogenic metal cylinder.
That just sounds completely fabricated right there. So this reporter discovered Walt Disney at this hospital for kids where he's frozen or whatever. Okay, yeah, this just no. This just sounds completely asinine. Okay.
Went as far as to claim that the burial spot was a freezer stored underneath the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland. So next time you see Captain Jack Sparrow, aka Johnny Depp, just know Walt Disney is buried beneath him. In 1969, the French magazine I See Paris.
Yeah, there's already quite a few plot holes in his theory here. Yes, I'm calling it a theory. Who is this reporter exactly? You think he would be really well known? How did he sneak into this children's hospital without anybody knows it? Why is children's hospital of all things? Him being frozen in a tank, those kind of stuff was really defined, really made much better, much later. And it's also proven that he was never frozen exactly. Yeah, he died. And how did the reporter individual know about this anyway? How exactly did this occur? Okay.
And later still, the National Tatler in the U.S. advanced the rumors by predicting Disney would be thawed out in 1975.
Why would the United States of America intentionally get carried away with these rumors? Okay, so many questions. So many questions.
Unless it wanted to be thawed out just in time to see his investment in.
Do you have any evidence to back up that claim? How do you know that's the reason you want to be frozen? How do you know that that was the entire thing behind this? What was the motivation here? Specifically the 1970s. Why not now? How do you know any of this? What's going on? Too many plot holes.
Star Wars and George Lucas, huh? There were several former Disney employees who continued to spread false stories about Disney's supposed.
What does this have to do with Star Wars? What employees? Why would they do this? What's their motivation to spread the rumors? What investments? We mean you mean that's why he wanted to be frozen? How do you know that's the reason he wanted to be frozen? What is going on here?
Big freeze during the 1990s. These now discredited legends were codified as expert quotes in a couple of less than reliable Disney biographies. Disney was a science fiction fan who looked forward to future advances in science.
Well, to correct you on this, he always wanted to invest his theme parks, make it bigger and bigger, really.
Technology and medicine. His creation of Epcot was originally designed to demonstrate how Americans will live, work, and survive in the future. So you have a nerd that likes a lot of tech, a lot of science fiction. Of course he's going to freeze himself so that he could come back later in the future.
Walt Disney isn't frozen. He's dead permanently. You're going to have to accept that. He's never going to come back, unfortunately. But his memory's still there. Come on.
He couldn't help but raise some eyebrows with the last film he produced. Sensing his impending demise, he ordered the cameras to roll as he addresses department heads one last time.
Sounds like something that you made up just so to support your theory that he might be frozen. Again, he's not going to come back ever.
Seated at his famous desk, just like he did during his television show that aired each Sunday evening, a smiling Walt appeared to make laser beam eye contact with each colleague as he told them what he expected of their performance in the future, and then he hoped to see them soon.
Yeah, that sounds like a complete load. A load of shit. So yeah, again, I find all that questionable.
One, pretty creepy, right?
Not really. Not really at all. I find it creepy that you're doing this instead of rather than going on a date with somebody. Yeah, now who's the creepy one?
Two, I wonder if they got that inspiration for Tony Stark's dad in all those Iron Man movies.
What? How did you jump to that conclusion? Iron Man's dead and whatnot. That's what? Yeah, I bet you were the little kid that pissed his pants when he was little. Is that what it is? Oh boy. Ugh.
Some have speculated that he read or heard of Robert C. W. Edgar's 1964 book, The Prospect of Immortality, which synthesized both believable and less likely ideas about cryonics. Predicted a day when medical science advanced enough to repair the damage to one disease-riddled person who was frozen, allowing cryonic experts to thaw them out and bring them back to life.
What? I mean, okay, yes, people do believe that immortality can be achieved, and the reverse aging can be achieved, and also, yes, medication has been highly advanced since he died, sure, but that still doesn't mean he has something to do with that.
So this is the urban legend that Walt Disney was on his deathbed and decided in the last second he wanted to be frozen so that he could come back alive, be thawed out, and cured of his disease.
Like I mentioned before, folks, Walt Disney's dead. He's not coming back. That's a fact of reality I do have to accept.
Sounds pretty crazy. Sounds kind of science fiction.
That's because it is. None of what you just said made any sense whatsoever. I mean, except for the mortality part. A lot of people do believe that can happen.
But for some reason, because he's such a genius, and it's the same thing that you see with somebody like Elon Musk or Steve Jobs, where all these rumors of great men who do great things, who had such great work ethic, but to a lot of people, were very harsh, really hard people to work with because they were so determined, because they were so laser focused, that they must be crazy enough. They must be so egotistical enough that they want to live forever. And it's a legend that builds on a lot of creative minds like this that work really hard.
So you mean to tell me that there isn't anybody lazy out there that wants to be living forever? Yeah, what about that?
Unfortunately, it is all science fiction. Because the truth is a lot darker and sadder than that. The website Snoops.com produced a point-by-point analysis refuting virtually every aspect of the cryogenetics and Walt Disney legend.
I find that questionable, but okay.
Perhaps the most convincing conclusion comes from Disney's daughter Diane, who wrote in 1972, "There is absolutely no truth that my father, Walt Disney, wished to be frozen."
I sort of figure out that on my own. It's either that or she's lying. Or you can just look at the information yourself. There's the whole thing called Freedom of Information Act. Yeah, that's a thing. You can do your own research, you know. So, yeah. Man, there's a dumb debate here.
I doubt that my father had ever heard of cryonics. So, what really happened? A chronic chain smoker, Disney staffers always knew when he was coming on the hall because of his hacking dry cough. He had been in declining health for much of the last year of his life. Fans of the NBC television show Walt Disney Wonderful World of Color began to notice how haggard and exhausted he looked on the air and wrote concerned letters to him.
Okay, that actually checks out, folks. Walt Disney, when he was alive anyway, yes, he was a smoker. He did that quite often.
About how raspy his voice had become. He was a longtime sufferer of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and emphysema, as well as severe damage to his cervical spine from falling off a horse while playing in a Hollywood polo tournament in the 1930s. In early November of 1966, Disney began to complain of severe neck and leg pain that interfered with his legendary ability to work and create. A chest x-ray uncovered a tumor the size of a walnut in his left lung, and surgeons recommended the immediate removal of a large portion of his left lung. He finished the most important things on his desk and returned to St. Joseph's for surgery on November 6. The surgeons found the tumor to be consistent with bronchogenic cancer. Disney's main concern about the extensive surgery was how short of breath he was, but the real problem was that he had lung cancer and had already spread wildly to his lymph nodes and elsewhere in his body. Disney, who was always an energetic man, struggled to go back to the Disney studios after the operation. But it seemed like many poor souls, the chemotherapy and cobalt x-ray treatments drained him of both his creative and physical will. He was rushed back to St. Joseph Hospital 2 weeks later and died of circularity collapse on the morning of December 15th.
Oh man, you just keep regurgitating the same thing over and over and over and over again. You're not bringing up a good argument here. Yes, he was a heavy chain smoker. Could he prevent his own death? Yes. Could he smoke less? I mean, he still could have, but he could have done it less? Sure. Maybe he could have lived longer if he did less, sure. But, yeah, you're doing a really poor job of this, man. To be honest here, you really, really are.
Disney was cremated 2 days after his death, and the urn containing his ashes were interred at the family mausoleum in the Forest Lawn Cemetery of Glendale, California. It was a small private service attended by only his wife, Lillian, his daughters, and their husbands and children. And that is the true story of what happened to Walt Disney after his death.
Okay, so what? He had a private funeral with someone he loved. That happens. He's not the only person that done that, and he's not going to be the last either. These things do happen. And yes, like I said earlier, you just have to accept the fact that he's never going to return. I mean, I can see why people would want him to return. I get it. But he's not going to come back ever again.
FYI, for anybody who's interested, the first person to be frozen cryogenetically was an American University professor in January 1967.
Since that time, more than 100 others have been cryopreserved, including baseball great Ted Williams, who died in 2002. So it's not out of the realm of this happening, and somebody did freeze himself right around the same time of Disney's death. So it's one of these interesting stories with circumstances of its time, and the mythological aura that Walt Disney had to so many people held to this day kind of led itself into this unbelievable urban legend, and the fact that a lot of people believe that he's buried in this frozen state underneath Disneyland. It is a funny thing that we want to believe in this greater thing, this person that's just so much bigger than the rest of us in life, but at the end of the day, he was taken out by a crippling disease that, to this day, is still doing that to many, many on this planet.
Now, there are some other urban legends, rumors, and facts about Walt Disney that do come out when you are going down the rabbit hole of this man. Some of them are pretty interesting, and some of them are downright horrible. So I would be remiss if we did not mention them on this podcast today. So,
Well, no, I have to disagree. All of this is boring. All of this entire thing is pretty boring, man. It's the exact opposite of interesting.
Why don't we hit a couple of them? One, Walt Disney was an anti-Semite.
And you're an absolute dumbass if you actually believe that. It's actually against the Nazis and whatnot.
There's the famous Three Little Pigs scene in which the wolf was portrayed as a Jewish peddler.
Or, hear me out here, maybe people like you are just reading way too much into a certain scene, so...
And his association with the very anti-Semitic Motion Picture Alliance, which the CEO founded after a particular bitter labor dispute in 1941.
And do you have any evidence to back that up? Which I highly doubt. How is it that people like you are the only people that know this? And like somehow no one else?
So again, there was little subtle messages and...
No, just because you think it's true doesn't necessarily mean it is true. Give me a break here.
moves that happen behind the scenes. These are just what were facts that happened about Walt Disney.
That's completely wrong again. Just because you think something to be a fact doesn't mean it's a fact. Case in point, Donald Trump at the time thought this had something to do with Star David, when in reality it's just a bunch of stickers. Just because he thought it's true doesn't mean it actually is true.
How about, was Walt Disney racist?
Absolutely not. And you can't convince me otherwise. So, do your worst, I guess you can say.
Use of racial stereotypes in Disney movies from the 1940s.
No. It's more in the lines of the fact that people like you are reading way too much into scenes that don't even apply that.
Dumbo's Black Crows, Fantasia's Black Servant, and The Song of the South.
Yeah, you're acting like black people never worked at the Disney place. Yeah, he's considered to be the first individual to do this. And from what I heard, Netflix is going to do a documentary on this individual and whatnot. So, yeah. About that.
Which we all know you can't watch anywhere. It's probably the most racist movie of all time.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
Wrong again. Just because people believe that doesn't mean it's true. And also, this is the most racist film of all time. Depicting African Americans as nothing more than rapists who want to go after white women and just ruin society. And then the KKK and whatnot have to save the day. Funny how you don't bring this up whatsoever. Huh.
Was created by Walt Disney. Meetings in which Disney referred to Snow White dwarves as N-word pile.
Bullshit.
I mean, that is such bullshit.
Are you kidding me, man? He's referring to these characters. He never called them any documentary names. Are you kidding me?
And another in which he used the term pickaninny. There's even reports that Disney anticipated the Song of the South controversy and attempted to make it less racist with a rewrite and meeting with the NAACP.
Bullshit.
The meeting never happened though.
Bullshit.
And the movie was released anyway. Then there's the rumors about Walt Disney being sexist.
Bullshit.
There is a letter sent from the Disney company in 1938 informing an applicant that women do not do creative work.
He's full of shit.
La 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 la.
And the awkward meter goes up another notch. Ding, 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 ding.
You can actually Google it. It's official, but again, the 1930s was...
Let me guess. You barely even did that right. You just went on the forced Google search, the very first thing that you see, and you just went along with it and didn't do much else, like hardly at all. This debate here seems poorly researched, if you ask me. Oh, and also, this movie was assumed to be racist because people wondered about it. Just because people question it doesn't mean it is.
Women weren't getting all these jobs to begin with. The fact is it's right there to see. It's a fact.
I know you are, but what am I? 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 Like this doesn't get old. Oh, you're the ignorant one.
One of the crazy things, again, going about Walt Disney is, was he an FBI informant?
Bruh, Are you this stupid? I mean, really, man? Really?
Disney helped co-found his own anti-communist organization.
What are you talking about? I mean, he lives in a capitalist city, or capitalist country, I should say, and he makes a capital of his films. So he will be more of a capitalist, so
The aforementioned Motion Picture Alliance, and he testified publicly in front of the House of an Un-American Activities Committee.
you're not backing anything up. If this is true, if he made it like an anti-communist thing, well, it's the evidence. Tell me.
So, with everything, there's just so many rumors about Walt Disney that it kind of seems real.
Not really. Eminem was accused of being racist towards African Americans, but that was obviously proven wrong.
It's this weird, almost bad guy in a movie, see yourself become the villain type of guy.
Not really. You're just looking way too much into something that doesn't even exist whatsoever.
So influential. He was so part of his time.
Okay, that's actually a good thing, but sure. Okay. Many artists are. The great artists, anyway.
That you can create these narratives about him.
That doesn't mean you should lie, though. And if you go along with it, you're just as good as telling that said lie as well. Ugh.
One way or the other. More importantly, he's so far removed from history, and he was so important in history, that you can make any story you want, and it almost seems plausible.
Yet, you haven't explained how any of this would make sense whatsoever. Oh, boy. I mean, really, man.
If you keep it in the world of that person.
I still don't know what you're talking about. Gosh, out of this seems over the top. Like a really, really over the top here, man. Come on.
And that's the thing. We assume Walt Disney was this big science fiction nerd. He loved reading these things. But
So what? Whoop-de-doo. He was nerdy. Okay. Well, at least he made a lot of money.
a lot of people. So do I. So do you.
That's a TV. This is a remote. That's a shoe rack. This is Vader. That's a cat. And this 12-inch subway is almost as big as my dick.
But the influence and power he had, the work ethic he had.
You don't know him personally. You know of him. Yes, there is a difference. You don't know him personally. You only know him through the media and whatnot. So, yeah.
People believe the tyranny he probably had with a lot of his workers, the relationships he had. You can understand where this legend comes from, where it's built upon, and how it can grow over the years.
Oh, boy. No, no, no. You're just basing a lot of what you believe in on some rumors and whatnot. And, yeah, just because rumors are going around doesn't mean it's actually true. And I thought we were supposed to talk about Elsa. It's in the title of your thing, you know. What about that? So, okay, it seems really misleading. Oh, boy. Yeah, this is just really bad. It's so bad.
Even with the fact that we know it's not true. Perception is reality. And I bet you if you ask anybody, I will say 7 out of 10 believe he is frozen under Disneyland right now.
Just because people believe it to be true doesn't mean it's true. Newsflash. Ugh.
On this episode of Murder, Mysteries, and More, a little treat for all you who are watching Marvel's Avengers Endgame, which is owned by Disney itself. And of course, we have The Lion King and Aladdin coming out. We also have Star Wars at the end of the year, the merger with Fox, and they owning basically everything else. This is a huge time for the Disney Corporation. It all started back in the 1930s with this man, his brother, and a legend that continues to grow and create more stories so many years after his death, including being frozen underneath Disneyland. So I hope you enjoyed this little story. And again, we did have to acknowledge a lot of the rumors, whether they're facts or just parts of their time, just reality of a man of his time. They have to be acknowledged because it just goes into the big story of this big figure in history.
Alright, I'm gonna skip a good chunk here because a lot of it was just filler. The whole bit, he just sounds like a conspiracy nut because the whole thing with him working behind the scenes and some secret society, Avengers Endgame, a lot of stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with anything. So anyway.
Enjoy our shows? Follow the Mercado Airwaves crew all over social media. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. On Instagram, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy. Alex is at Mercado.
Keeps going and going and going. And just lots and lots of filler. Doesn't really get to the point, really.
Get us on the go by downloading our programs anywhere you get your favorite podcast.
Nothing really has been resolved. Nothing has been really spoken about all that clearly, really. They keep advertising their own stuff. You can download this or check this out, go to this and that, and all that Toretto stuff. And that's pretty much the rest of the podcast. Just them giving their shout outs to the rest of the, I guess you can say the social accounts or whatever. Like on Instagram, or you could download some things to keep track up with them or whatnot. So, yes, they do have a podcast thing on SoundCloud and whatever. So that's basically we're trying to discuss how maybe Walt Disney was working with the Illuminati and whatnot, which I of course had to disagree with because, like I said before, the Illuminati doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a secret society as that because for a secret society that's trying to keep hidden behind everybody and trying to keep in the shadows, so to speak. Kind of like looking through the looking glass or going down the rabbit hole, like Alice in Wonderland kind of thing. For a secret society that's trying to keep themselves hidden, they're doing a really poor job at it. And you think somebody would have sent someone to kill them off to keep their mouths shut or something? I don't know. So, and you know how some people claim that Walt Disney is a Satanist? Which, okay, yes, people have claimed that he was. But like I said before, just because you think it's true doesn't mean it is true. It doesn't mean that it's actually happened. Just because a lot of people believe in one thing doesn't mean it exists. I know a lot of people believed in the Illuminati. That doesn't mean it's real. A lot of people believe that he was a Satanist. That doesn't mean he's real. If anything, Walt Disney himself always believed that we all can get together and have some fun in a theme park. He believed in some sort of utopia kind of a thing. And he always wanted to build a town, okay, maybe not town, maybe like a city. You know what I mean? Yeah, that seems more like it, like a city where everybody can get along, you eat, you can drink and find something to do, have some fun. There can be some music and whatnot. Well, a lot of families can actually get along. I mean, granted, you don't necessarily have to be part of a family to enjoy this kind of a thing. Never assume. Oh boy, never ever assume is what I'm getting at, folks. And that's the truth. Walt Disney, when he was alive, was this American entrepreneur, which is another word for capitalism, of course. And he really wanted to make this happen. He really wanted to do something with animation. He didn't succeed at first, really, and yeah, he failed. But he attempted again. The second attempt was definitely his best because his second attempt at the movie industry was definitely what became Walt Disney with the theme parks and everything. Well, if at first you don't succeed, try again until it's all spent, of course. But yeah, he was also an animator, a writer, voice actor, and also a film producer. He was definitely part of the uh, a pioneer for the American animation industry, and he proved it, of course. He introduced several elements in the production of cartoons. As a filmmaker, he did definitely held the record for most Academy Awards earned by an individual, having won 22 Oscars from 59 nominations. So yeah, that's definitely something. So it's definitely something that people need to recognize. Of course, there are good people in the world. It seems rather pessimistic to think that a lot of people going to think only good people don't exist. It's all a front or whatever. There's some sort of evil scheme or whatever or whatnot. I'm not one of those individuals, even though I do complain quite often, of course. But yeah, he was definitely presented with two Golden Globe Special Achievement Awards and an Emmy Award, and among other honors as well. Several of his films have been included in the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress. Cinderella is definitely one of those films that was held in such importance, of course. So yeah, the thing is, animation drawing was definitely something he wanted to take care of rather early on, because the thing is that yeah, he developed an interest in drawing really early on. So yeah, he took art classes as a boy and got a job as a commercial illustrator at the age of 18. He moved to California in the early 20s and set up a Disney Brothers studio with his brother Roy. So yeah, of course, it took quite some time to actually, produce quite movies. Cinderella was one of his biggest hits. Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, of course, it was another smash hit for him. Obviously, of course, he helped to make these four-length animated features, and he was definitely the first company to actually do so. So yeah, with the technical development of these types of cameras and whatnot, Pinocchio, Fantasia, and Dumbo, Bambi, they're viewed as classics as well. Of course, several of his films had to suffer because of what happened in World War II and whatnot, what happened in afterwards, but still found success anyway. Movies like Cinderella found like a success for the company, of course, and I guess they didn't suffer all that much. Maybe to some extent they did. I guess you would say they suffered, but nonetheless, they got a lot of success throughout the entire years, even after his death, of course. But of course, he didn't stop there. During the 1950s, Disney himself helped to expand the theme park industry, and then in July of 2015, he opened Disneyland in its own place, of course. And to fund the project, of course, he had to use television programs and whatnot, such as Walt Disney's Disneyland and the Mickey Mouse Club, of course. So yeah, he was involved in quite a bit of stuff, which he wanted to do anyway, obviously. And that's kind of the thing, of course. And in 1965, he began developing another theme park, uh, Disney World, in the heart of which he to be viewed as a new type of city, as I was saying a moment ago, as an experimental prototype uh, community of tomorrow. Um, but of course, the thing is, like I was saying earlier, Disney was actually a heavy smoker throughout his entire life and died of lung cancer in December of 1966. Yeah, so yeah, before anything was actually completed in the way he wanted. So yeah, so unfortunately, he didn't was able unable to see this kind of thing operate through. Unfortunately, so yeah, that was definitely a problem. It was unfortunate, of course. Um, it was said that Walt Disney himself was rather shy in some ways, self-deprecating kind of humor, an insecure man in private, but adopted a warm, outgoing public persona outside, of course, and whatnot. And of course, and whatnot. And like I was saying earlier, although there were many people who assumed and accused him that he was racist and anti-Semitic, all of these things have been contradicted by the people who actually knew him and grew up with him, of course, and whatnot. So that's definitely a good thing you can say. People actually knew who actually knew the truth. Walt Disney himself came out from the what I would call the silent generation, which of course something I would know about because I was around since the 1900s. So yeah, which means Walt Disney is actually older, or should I say was older than the Boomer age. So of course, the values have been changed over the years. Society has changed ever since he was born. Of course, the silent generation is going to be different from the Boomer generation. The Boomer generation is of course going to be different from the so on and so forth. Of course, things are going to change over the years. That doesn't mean that he's necessarily sexist or racist or anything like that. You gotta be kidding me. But he still remains to be a cultural icon, which he should. And to this very day, his work continues to be shown, of course, and adapting in some sort of ways. And yeah, that's definitely a good thing. His namesake studio and company maintain high quality standards in the production of popular entertainment. Well, at least most of the time, because some of the movies have been real less than stellar. I guess we can say, if we're gonna be honest here. But yeah, I guess I just end this video already because this has been going on for quite some time. Oh boy, I do appreciate anybody for watching for my long video. So yeah, I just think that this entire thing was just nonsensical. And I do appreciate anybody for watching, of course. I really do like it, like making these long videos. They just take quite some time to, make. So I guess yada yada blah 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 blah. So yeah, thanks for having a look, folks. I do appreciate the view, obviously. So anyway, until next time, folks. I guess. See ya. Yeah, folks. That just be it for now, I suppose. I guess just enjoy the last little bit here, folks. Yeah.
We no longer control position Vesh.
The Imperials better hold on to their arms.
Suppressive fire, ready.
We're capturing Point Vesh.
We've taken control of command post Bash.
We fought back the Imperials. Now let's see what we can do to sabotage.